Happy Friday, Eric Bible with the Bible team at Neo Home Loans. And as my 9-year-old daughter last night made me feel my age for not knowing who the viral gamer sketch was and his infamous tagline, "What's up, brother?" Markets felt that same gap given the fact that it was a quiet news week. And with that, today we start the day with the 30-year fixed mortgage sitting at 7.17%, up from last week 7.02, which, yes, is a move in the wrong direction. But given the fact that it was a quiet news week heading into a holiday weekend, hey, we'll take this. It's good. Big news next week with PCE. So here, definitely we'll have some updates next week on what direction, where we're seeing rates going in the short and long term. But with that, let's dive into this week's update specific to Fed Talk. There was a number of voting members that took to the media outlets, media circles, in release of the Fed minutes from the last Fed meeting, the all-important PCE report that we'll receive next Friday, some exciting news for veteran buyers, and we'll close with our Memorial Day thank you. So first and foremost, Fed Talk. There was a number of voting members that took to the media outlets to kind of give their talking points, what they're focused on in preparation for those Fed minutes to be released this week. As we know, the Fed right now, they're wanting to see additional progress on inflation. Yes, we got a good print earlier this month with CPI. All those Fed members came out and were basically saying, hey, in order for us to start cutting rates, we need to see inflation moderate more. So that message was reiterated, conveyed across all channels. Markets really looked at it as, hey, we know. One thing, though, that stood out, voting Governor Waller. He too was adamant in saying that, yes, in order for me to feel confidence in cutting rates, I need to see more progress on inflation. He switched gears, though, and said, hey, unless, there is some exception to that. If we see employment start to suffer weak, meaning unemployment rise, well, the game changes. So markets picked up on that, kind of put a mental note next to it, to really be in tune with what's happening with the unemployment numbers. As we saw last week, or last month, I should say, at the beginning of this month, I should say, unemployment numbers were a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of a shakeup. So here, if we start to see that become the trend, the Fed really will step in, as they've been very clear to indicate that, to adjust monetary policy. With that, next week, really in preparation, as we've been over the last few weeks, it's been a quiet time from the last release of inflation data. Well, next week, next Friday, to be specific, we get personal consumption expenditures, another inflation print. That's really what the Fed is watching. And the market expectation is, if we see moderation like we did on the inflation numbers earlier this month, mortgage rates should and likely rally in our favor. So as that report releases next Friday, we'll bring it to you on our update, but definitely stay tuned. Next, big news for VA buyers. As we know, the NAR settlement case, it's starting to kind of work its way through the system. We're expecting more updates as we enter into that all-important July timeframe. However, there was a ton of concern for our VA buyers, as the VA is very, very specific in their language, saying that the veteran cannot pay real estate commissions or fees. Well, good news. The VA came out with an update. They are amending that language to temporarily remove the restriction. We expect formal adaptation of this here in the coming weeks, where the veteran buyer can, in fact, pay real estate commissions. And that's a huge victory, because the biggest concern was, how are they going to be in a position to compete and get the service and dedication that they deserve? And with that, that transitions to a wonderful close of what this Memorial Day is all about. As we know, it's there to remember and honor the brave men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice for this wonderful nation. And for that, we say thank you. For without you, we wouldn't have the ability to celebrate in the finest nation on earth. So again, I say thank you. Your sacrifice never goes unnoticed. Incredibly appreciative. And with that, make it a fantastic Friday and an even greater weekend. Thank you.